This is Lewis Art for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Forged Irish Stout. Delighted today to be joined with Michael McKinson, fresh back off of a nice few days away in New York, and fresh back off Christmas and the New Year. So, how's things, mate? How have you been keeping?
These have been good. I weighed myself just before going to New York, so it would have been 3 weeks after my fight. I'd only put on a couple of pounds. It's crazy how my body's working lately. Like my last two fights, I've made weight easier than ever, and I'm not putting as much weight on in between camps now. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy.
I was actually going to mention that. I did see the Twitter post where you did say you're not much heavier from fight night. Um, was that sort of an intentional thing? Like was that sort of thing to stay disciplined over the Christmas period?
I'm kind of always all year round. I'm kind of always half fit. I'm always in the gym, but I had a couple of weeks off, so I wasn't expecting to see my weight like that.
Hmm.
I had a couple of weeks off, and we had Christmas, and the weight I was is the weight I entered the ring at against Ortiz.
Yeah,
Mm.
Jesus. Yeah.
so, so yeah, I'm in a good place lately. I'm in a real good place.
Has this been a thing where it comes to keeping the weight down? Has that been a thing that you've always wanted to do, or just would you say just towards this stage of your career? Maybe was you a little bit looser at the start of your pro career, or maybe was you amateur and stuff? Like,
No, I think it's important to stay healthy all year round. I turned pro as a welterweight, but I was a baby. I was 19, 20 years old.
yeah,
That's 10 years ago. So it's obviously got harder over the years to make welterweight. There's been a couple of times I've slipped off the mark a little bit, like lockdown came up, I put on
yeah,
loads of weight. Um, I've got a real good team around me, so I don't really have any troubles making welterweight. But it does get hard, so you have to look after your body outside of camp, and that's what I seem to do. Uh, I'm not a massive eater. I like
yeah,
and stuff like that. But yeah, just as I've got older, it's like the last two camps have been great. It's
yeah,
actually been great. So yeah, I don't like for example, when I fought Ortiz and they gave me 8 weeks notice, I had a lot of weight to shift in that 8 weeks. I don't ever want to do stuff like that anymore. Um, so me sitting just over a stone above, lovely.
yeah. That's completely fair enough. I suppose we'll just touch on Ortiz because obviously he came back this weekend.
Yeah.
And when you compare since you when you fought Ortiz, that was Ortiz's first fight since yourself,
Mm.
and you fought
Mm.
4 times since then. So sort of a bit sort of a crazy thing to see that since that fight you've been really active, and obviously he's had his pullouts and his
Yeah.
injuries, and he hasn't been active himself.
Yeah. Well, hopefully now as a fellow boxer watching Ortiz and being in the ring with Ortiz as well, hopefully all of that's behind him now. He's at 154 and um, we can see how well he does in the professional ring.
Yeah,
Um, like hopefully he can get a world title shot up at 154 and do great things because it makes my fight with him look even better then.
yeah. I did want to touch on that because he obviously Tim Tszyu called him out, and that was a potential fight for him. With you sharing the ring with Ortiz, what would you make of that fight between him and Tim Tszyu?
Great fight. I'm a bit of a fan of Tim Tszyu,
Yeah,
uh, but always now I'd always have to back being in a ring
mm,
with Ortiz. I'd always have to back Ortiz. It's a big jump up for him fighting Tim Tszyu. I don't think he's been other than Kavalauskas. He hasn't been in with any real big names. I don't think Maurice Hooker, but he was on the tail end. So yeah, it'd be like he should really fight these guys now. No wasting time. He's the last 2 years have been a bit of a waste for him. He only fought me in over 2 years, I think it was. So
yeah,
um, hopefully he can get the momentum back up and yeah, and see where his career takes him now.
definitely. Well, we'll get onto yourself. As 2023 drew to a close, you did manage to get one more fight in,
Mm.
and a solid 10 rounds. As you look back on 2023 with lots of activity, as we previously said there, Do you look back at it as a quite a success? Obviously two fights in Bournemouth as well.
Hmm. Bittersweet because the level I've been fighting at, I should be fighting at a higher level. But I've got to just take what I can get, really. Since the Ortiz fight, I fought 4 times. I've fought 28 rounds. I don't know if you see the post. I've won 27
Yeah,
of those rounds. So,
yeah,
and stopped 2 of them. Stopped 2 of the 4
yeah,
opponents. I stopped the first 2 this year. Uh, I don't think I'm doing that bad, to be honest. But I need to be in the ring with better opposition
yeah.
because
And
I'm much better than the guys I've been fighting. Obviously, the last guy was an undefeated, proud guy, bit of amateur form and relatively unknown, but still, he's not a name. I want
yeah.
names.
And I was going to say that to you because it's important that sometimes people say, it's important to stay patient and stay ready, but there has to be points for yourself where the patience wears thin, where it's like, for the level that I believe that I can operate and how believe and you may feel like I'm not doing myself justice, where I can show how good I can be against the higher level opposition. It must be the patience must wear thin for you, I can imagine.
Yeah, it is frustrating. But on the other hand, after I boxed Ortiz, I had no platform anymore. My
Yeah,
my deal would ended. Uh, so I really did think I was going to go back to having a fight on small hall shows where I
yeah,
started. So the fact that 3 of my 4 fights have been on Sky Sports, I've been like on Sky Sports cards. Very grateful. Very grateful with the help of Joe Ashford, who's creating opportunities for me and really looking after me. So I have full confidence that in a big year, in a big 2024, because I'm doing my job. I've not put a foot wrong since Ortiz. So as long as I keep doing my job, the big fights will eventually come.
absolutely. And just before I sort of touched on potential big fights,
Yeah.
one big thing for that fight was it was your first 10 rounder, another 10 rounder back, and completing the 10 rounds. And one thing I was saying to you, does it feel a benefit for you where you can go 10 rounds where you're the one setting the pace and you know that opponents, no matter how big of a puncher they may be or how powerful or how skillful they may be, they're going to understand that when they're in the ring with you that you're going to have, it's I can set this pace for 12 rounds
Yeah.
and I can keep with it as well. That must be a benefit for yourself and your style.
Yeah, I don't know the fact of how many times I've done the full 10 rounds, but it's a lot.
Yeah,
So I've got that in the locker, no problem. If they want to force a pace upon me, I'll go with that pace for 10 rounds, 12 rounds. I've prepared to fight for 12 rounds before, so um, I have the rounds in the bank, no problem. I think this year, for me, it was to try and prove that I do have all of that, but I can be exciting.
yeah,
And like the first 2 got them out of there, and even fighting that guy the other day, it was 11-0 and 9 knockouts. I stood in the pocket. I was trying to make things exciting and things like that. So I'm always developing myself.
mhm.
So as long as I keep developing and keep showing rooms of improvement and stuff like that, then I'm happy. If I need to, I can go back to being a smart fighter, cagey, and all stuff like that. But I haven't needed to.
I was going to say that, like, was that a hard shift for yourself where you had that little bit of change in style because you've had your style that that got you so successful that got you to the Ortiz fight, and that was such a success for you. But this year, slightly changing that and becoming more aggressive. Was
Yeah,
that a hard thing for yourself to do, or did you understand that I probably needed to do it?
yeah. It was kind of like a personal thing with me.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I meant. Yeah,
yeah, I've always been physically strong. I've always been physically strong. It's just the case of not getting people, hurting them and getting them out of there because I haven't needed to. But I've been working very, very hard on my S&C with my physio, Cambrew, my conditioning coach Mark Coombs and Veli as well, who's been helping me out. Over the last, probably I've been on the program probably for the last 18 months, 2 years before Ortiz. And each camp we just develop, and I do get stronger each camp, and I do hit PBs each camp, and there is a lot of improvement over the last year. So going into this year, it was a case of proving doubters wrong.
Yeah.
Whoever they put in front of me, proving doubters wrong, and I'll get them out of there, and I got 2 or 3 out of there, didn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I suppose we'll now touch on a big fight that you wanted after your fight and just before Christmas. David Avanesyan, who's a name you've called out after your fight, you did call him out, and you went up to, I can't remember where, I think it was in like sort of the Midlands in Birmingham. I can't remember where it was. You went up to his fight, you saw him there. What was that sort of? Is it showing your intentions are clear that I'm here and I'm traveling? It was a bit of a long way for you to I want the fight.
A long way on a cold Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But 6-hour round trip it was. But the Avanesyan thing started in May when I called him out after I boxed that Morales. And all respectful, I don't think David's got a lot of options, and I'm always in that boat. So it makes sense. They're up for the fight, we're up for the fight. And going into the camp for the 10th of December just gone, I think both camps believed we were in camp to fight each other.
Yeah.
And that's all that I knew. Then I found out it wasn't happening. I didn't ask questions because I was still on the show.
Yeah.
So I just had to kind of shit. But for the first few weeks, I was in camp to fight David Avanesyan. I truly believed. And whatever happened, it didn't happen. I fought Musa Lawson. Then David's manager was going on Twitter, and he was saying I turned the fight down, and I said I didn't want to fight him. I'd fight him at a later date. I just want a warm-up fight. Now, I've been in the ring 4 times since Ortiz. I don't need no warm-up fights, right? So let's just squash that one out, right? I thought I was in camp to fight David, and we spent good money, went out to New York and things like that. That's another reason why it's all lies. And for him to write all over Twitter that I turned the fight down. Now, the only fight I've ever turned down was, I don't know the guy's name. He's a journeyman, I think Lithuanian journeyman or something like that. When I fought Robert Ariarza last year.
Yeah.
They nearly got me at 8 wins, 30 losses. And I said, no way, I'm coming off a fight against Ortiz. I'm not fighting a journeyman. That's the only fight I've ever personally turned down. Yeah. So, I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder when he was writing all of that. And I thought, right, call my dad, let's go up to Birmingham. He's fighting a journeyman. He was fighting a journeyman that he'd fought 7 years ago. So we already knew how the fight was going to go. Yeah. But for me, it was just, I'm going up, I'm confronting them, and I'm proving a point, respectfully, but I'm proving a point that I'm chasing the fight. No one wants the fight more than I do. So we got in the car, 3 hours to Birmingham. His manager didn't really want to confront us at all. Didn't get nothing from his manager. But when David got out of the ring, I walked over. He obviously respected me, said, when are we going to fight? And he's heard I'm a good guy. His trainer, Carl Greaves, knows that we're good people and stuff. We all want the fight. So let's make it happen. I've proven I want it. I want it next.
And how frustrating was that to hear those accusations that you potentially didn't want the fight, or because especially for yourself, where you've boxed Ortiz in Texas, and you've never, as I said, they've never turned a fight down. I think early in your career, you was happily in the away corner for some of your fights. So to hear those sort of accusations come out about yourself, did it sort of feel like a bit of a damage to your sort of character when people are saying things like that?
Only because I know it's a lie.
Yeah.
Now, his manager may truly believe that we turned. I don't know what they was told. I'm not sure. But I'd never turned no fight down. I wanted to fight Avanesyan in December. So it was just, it's frustrating. And the way that he was disrespecting me over Twitter as well as manager. David's a nice guy, I met David, but his manager, like, for a while before that, his manager was messaging me on Twitter about trying to get the fight originally. Now, if he's that experienced in this game of boxing, you shouldn't message the boxer. You should message their manager. Like, for starters, I don't manage myself. You should message my manager. He was trying to message me for a while, months and months. But yeah, like, I still like want to stay respectful. But when he's like kind of writing lies over Twitter, I thought, right, we're going to Birmingham and we're going to prove it to him.
Do you feel like it means a little bit more to you now after those accusations when it comes to that fight? Because it was a great, a fight like that doesn't really need selling. It's an amazing fight and it's a perfect fight to make. But after these comments that get made, it must sort of, as you said, it gets a chip in your shoulder. It makes you want the fight more now. It means a little bit more to you.
Yeah, I need a fight like that. I do. Like, I think I'm better than the majority of domestic scene, and I know that none of them will be queued up to fight me. So where does that leave me? Like, I've only lost to Vergil Ortiz. Everyone else I've beat quite comfortably. So where does that leave me? I have to fight somebody that no one wants to fight.
Yeah, definitely. And when it came to a fight like Avanesyan, and you said you've only ever lost to Vergil Ortiz, and I'm sure you feel a little bit disrespected by almost being overlooked when it comes to top level welterweights. It must feel like for you that the Avanesyan fight where you can believe it, you can be it. This is sort of your statement to come out again and realise that I'm well within the rights of challenging for potential top level welterweights and world titles again.
Yeah, it is a case of earning people's respect, which for whatever reason, that's been a lack of respect in my career. I don't know. Like, when I went over to Texas for Ortiz, everyone was respecting me. When I went over to fight Ortiz the first time and I said yes to all these names, 6 names, I felt respected last year, 2022. But I just need to earn that back for whatever reason. And to do that, I have to go in there and beat somebody that people don't think I'm going to beat.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know I could beat David Avanesyan. I know I can.
Do you feel benefits in a way when you've got a potential chip on your shoulder and you have to earn someone's respect and your back's against the wall? Do you feel like do you sort of prefer that? Do you benefit from that, or do you find it sort of a bit of a frustrating thing with the things that you've achieved in your career and the things that you've done?
For what I've achieved in my career, a lot of the motivation has come from people not thinking I'm going to do something. And like, there's been many times I've gone into the ring. Ryan Martin, my first title fight, he was the best junior my age as an amateur. He was a standout. He thought it was going to be a dead cert against me. I went to his hometown, beat him up. Sam McNess boxed on the England team as an amateur. They thought it was a dead cert. A lot of people in boxing did. I beat him easy. Like Chris Congo, the same thing, 4-1 underdog. I went beat him easy. I've done it many times in my career, and that is my fuel. People that think I'm going to lose. When I was in Gibraltar against Congo, my fuel all week was looking on Twitter and seeing all of the polls and everyone thinking Congo's going to do me in 4 rounds, blah blah blah. That's what gets me up for it. And I know the Avanesyan fight, there's going to be probably more people thinking he's going to beat me than me thinking I'm going to beat him. So that's my motivation sorted. I've not been in a ring since Ortiz where people think I'm going to lose. So yeah, this will be a very important fight for me if it gets made.
Yeah. And ideally, when would you like the fight to potentially happen? Because we know that there's potential of CBS. I know that fight's probably as good as it's on its own as a main event. But obviously, I know ideally you would probably like to fight in the South Coast. We know CBS could be fighting Reactor sometime in the first half of 2024. When would you ideally like the fight, and when would you want it?
Ideally, I'd like the fight before I'm 30. I'll turn 30 the middle of April. I'm active. Like I've fought 3 times last year, 3 times the year
Mhm.
before. Um, I've been injury free for my last couple of fights, so why not March, April? Let's
Yeah,
go. I've had my little weekend away now. Now I'm ready to start camp. I'm not too heavy. Um, I sparred last week, so I'm not
yeah,
unfit. I'm ready to start a camp. Um, but I've just got to leave it to my people to see if they can make the Avanesyan fight next. If not, something of that caliber.
yeah. And you spoke about wanting really a little bit of love from promoters and a potential promotional deal.
Yeah,
We know that you've had fights on Boxer. Would you like to hopefully see this year that a promotional deal could be on the horizon?
yeah. I feel like um, I deserve something a little bit more stability in my career. Um, I feel like I deserve to be on the main cards.
Yeah,
Uh, I feel like, and I feel like I do deserve the big fights. I don't put a foot wrong. So I'm very grateful to Sky Sports and Boxer what they've done for me in the last year because I'm not signed to them and they're putting me on their cards and stuff. But a little bit of stability wouldn't go amiss.
yeah,
Just in order of securing a bit of love. With a bit of love, I can go on and win a world title,
definitely.
no
Yeah,
problem. With a bit of love, I could. So I've just got I've got some good people looking after me, like my dad and Joe Ashford. So I've just got to. I get very impatient. I'm already
mhm,
on the lookout. Already, I was
yeah,
on the lookout when I went to Birmingham 2 weeks after my fight.
yeah.
Uh, I think it was 10 days after. It wasn't long after my fight.
No, it wasn't
Of
long at
what's
all.
next? Yeah, of what's next. So maybe like the next few weeks, I'll see if I can pester and see what's next, and let's get the ball rolling. I don't need to wait for certain events to be put on. I'll fight him anyway.
Just going back to the promotional deal, you mentioned there about when the Matchroom deal ended that you was worried about going back to sort of small hall. So do you feel like since leaving Matchroom, it's gone although you haven't had a big fight that you wanted, it's been a little bit better than you probably thought it would have been?
Yeah, it has because I've had the safety net.
Yeah,
Um, I have had a safety net, and I'm better than small hall.
yeah,
But
oh,
it took
absolutely.
me it took me a long time. I don't know what was the Congo fight, like my 19th fight or something. It took me a long time to get to the TV, and then when I got there, I didn't ever want to lose it. So when I lost to Ortiz, that was my third fight in my matchroom deal. So I thought, oh, what's going to happen now?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
going to happen? Am I going to have to go back? And what, age 17, 18 months later, I'm still here and I'm still fighting on big cards and great events as well. Could I just say,
Mhm.
not just big cards, they've been great events that I fought on. Great setup. So yeah, just really, really grateful.
I know we've touched on it, what you want in 2024, but just as we do close off this interview, what can we expect in 2024 for Michael McKinson?
Um, a couple of meaningful fights that will put me in serious contention for world names. I think the Avanesyan fight would be the perfect fight for me
Yeah,
because I go out there and beat Avanesyan, then boom, I'll beat the guy no one really wants to fight, and I'm there to fight for a massive, massive fight. So, um, meaningful fights in 2024. Uh, I feel like BoxRec needs to move me up a few places. I
yeah,
don't know what their gut. I don't know the crack with that. That's a bit strange,
yeah.
but I just keep beating them, and I like with a meaningful fight. Everyone respects me, so that's the important goal right now.
Absolutely. I definitely hope that Avanesyan fight does get made. Mike, I just want to say thank you for taking time to speak to me. Appreciate always catching up with you. And it's good to kick off 2024 catching up with you, mate. Top man.
I've been looking forward to speaking to you, mate. No
I
problem.
appreciate it, mate. I'll be looking forward to it as well, mate. Top man. Appreciate it, mate. Top man. Thank you.
We need to think of a new advert for freebets.com.
Get your best betting offers from freebets.com.
Yeah, that'll do.
The following deals are now live.